Alright, so this is a delete scratch. We're doing a delete with the kick and the snare. So alright, it's like that. So okay. Alright, so this is a delete scratch. We're doing a delete with the kick and the snare. So alright, it's like that. So okay. Alright, it's like that. So okay. we go. Alright, boom. So this scratch we're going to do today, this is a 3-click delete scratch. So the delete scratch was invented by DJ Trouble out of France, and it's basically, the delete scratch is basically like this. It's got a baby scratch, a rub, invented by Grand Wizard Theodore, and it's going, so it's a rub, and then it's a half of a flare, so like that, so, and then a backwards rub, and then the same thing on the way back, like that. So it's like a 1-click flare in between those two baby scratches. So that's a regular delete scratch. Now you can do that same pattern. You can add 2 clicks in the middle, or you can add 3 clicks in the middle. And we already did a tutorial with 2 clicks in the middle of it, but now we're going to go in on this one that has 3 clicks. All right, I'm turn this up a little bit. So now, so it's basically going to go like this. It's going to go a rub, and then you see that? That was a 3-click, half of a 3-click, and then a right, and then a backwards rub, and then another 3-click on the way back. Alright, and that 3 clicks should make 4 sounds, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should go like that. So it's like that. So we'll go slow again. It's going rub, and then 3 clicks. All right, and then another rub, backwards rub on the snare, and then another 3 clicks. Now, once again, this scratch is important to do this scratch with a really bassy sound. Anytime you're doing with the 3-click, you want to have a kick in the, and you're doing scratch drumming like this, where you've got a kick and a snare, you want to have some type of sound in between it, because if it's just a kick and a snare by itself, you're not going to really hear it. So notice we're going to do this 3-click, so it's going, so you hear the whole 3-click, you hear da 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 da, you hear 1, 2, 3, 4. But if we go to some other sound up here, we'll choose another sound. So you don't really hear them. I mean, you can hear the 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's a lot more quiet because you're only scratching kind of the attack that's kind of fading out. You're not even really hearing it, you know? Alright, so we're going to write this scratch. We're going to write down what it looks like. This time we'll use a purple marker. Alright, so this scratch is basically going like this. This is a 3-click delete. And the reason that I'm not calling this like some new scratch, because technically it is a new scratch, because I want to give, you know, reference to DJ Trouble, you know, because it's like, you know, there's infinite number of scratches out there, and if we make an individual name for every single scratch, kind of like constellations in the sky, it can be useful, but, you know, there's just so many that it can just kind of become mind-boggling and confuse people after a long time. So, you know, since I showed you the original pattern that DJ Trouble did, and that was, you know, a 1-click delete basically. So, you know, we can do 2 clicks, we could throw a crab in there, a twiddle in there, you can throw all types of stuff in that same pattern. So basically the way this is going is like this. It's like this is going forward. So you see that it's going baby, but the baby's not coming all the way back necessarily to the starting point, especially when you go fast. You know, if you want to go fast in Scratch, it's, you know, not going back to the starting point is a way to get through it. But if you're using this heavy kick sound, then you do want to kind of go back to the starting point. So I'll just go like that. I'll bring it back to here, and then it's going like that. And then we got a 3 click right here. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, and then the same thing on the way back. So this is the 50% point. And the same thing on the way back. I'll just draw it like this. This is like 50%. Alright, and the same thing on the way back. It's going to go, so we're going, this is a rub. So I'm going to write rub. And this is 0.53 click. I'll just write 0.53 click. That's a rub. Alright, so it's going rub like that, and then a what-da-da-da makes 4 sounds. Alright, and then we're going to go da-va like this. We're going to go. Alright, so it's another rub. So rub, what-da-da-da, rub, and this one's happening on the snare. And then we're going to go back like that, and it's another 3 click like that. So this is basically going like this. So it's basically like a kind of like a 3 click, but you're putting a rub at the beginning and a rub in the middle, like that. Now with this one, remember we're doing this backwards rub on the snare part. So it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a little bit more complex than this actually, because what's going to happen is this one is going to be way higher. Because the kick and the snare, I'll draw another one where the kick and the snare are in a different place. So I'll go like this and draw another one. So let's see, draw another one, and the kick, I'll divide it like this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to draw it right here. I'm going to draw it so we can have a defined kick and snare. I'm going to say this is the kick. And then this is the snare. Alright? I'll draw a little wave file so you can see the kick. It's going like that. Alright, and the snare is coming like this. Alright, so it's kick and a snare, right? Alright, so, and this kick has this very bassy kick, and it's got a bunch of bass in it that keeps kind of traveling. So you can hear that 3 click, remember? Okay, so now I'm going to go like this so you can see what's being scratched. So it's going to be the same thing. This is going to be on the kick. The rub is on the kick. Like that. So this rub is going to be at the start of the kick. And it's going to go duv. Alright, so it's going duv. And then it's going to go what-da-da-da. Alright, and then we're going to go like that. It's going 1, 2, 3. Alright, and then we're in the middle, and then on the way back we're going to do just the rub on the snare like that. So it's going duv, and then we're going to come on the way back like that. And it's 1, 2, 3. So it's going duv, what da 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 duv, what da da da. So you notice this one isn't really being specific. Like if you're just using the fresh sound or something like that, and you're doing the same things to the same sound. But this one, you know, we've got these 2 separate sounds, so it sounds better when you're going duv, what da 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 duv, what da da da. So right here, this is another rub, and this is another 0.53 click. So it's half of a 3 click. Okay, so yeah, so there we go. All right, so it's going like that. It's going dove, what da 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 dove, what da 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 dove, what da 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 dove, what da da da. It's going dove, what da da da. So dove, what da 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 dove, what da da da. Okay. Now this is what it sounds like with this other drum scratch. It's not going to sound as cool, so we'll try it out. So you can't even. It's hard to hear those 3 clicks. So we'll try another sound. So once again, you don't really, you know, the kick and the snare in this example, in this particular kick snare combo, you're not really hearing that 3rd click. I mean, this middle kind of click, you're not hearing that because there's not really any sounds there. There's not really any sounds right here where this kick snare is. So it's going. So you don't even hear anything. You're just kind of clicking on empty space. So it kind of defeats the point of it. So that's why we're going to use a sound that has stuff in the middle. Not that one. So this is the one we're using. Alright, so yeah, we're going to use this one. So it's going. So we're going to go back to it. So we're going to go. So we went rub, 1, 2, 3, 4, rub, 1, 2, 3, 4. And all together, the rub makes 2 sounds. So that's like 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 6 sounds on the way forward and 6 sounds on the way back. So that's 12 sounds. All right, 12 sounds and 12 sounds, 6 clicks. So it's 12 sounds, 6 clicks. Alright, just a little like that. Good, so we got 12 sounds, 6 clicks, so we know what this is. Alright, bada boom. So here we're gonna go. We're gonna go back. So you can hear, you notice you can hear that. We heard 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll try it on another sound just so I can kind of prove this theory. You hear some other stuff. See, you didn't even hear anything. So because right here there's no sound. There's no sound right there. Hear that? It's not really any sound. Just a little bit of the attack from the kick, but you're not really hearing anything, you know? So here we're going to go. So we'll try it again. See, you don't hear anything. So this is good for, so, you know, every scratch, you know, there's certain scratches that go good with everything, but, you know, really refined scratches like this, like a 3-click delete is going to, you know, it's only going to, these 3 clicks are only going to sound good on certain sounds. And you definitely can't use this on a really, really small sound. You can, like, I'll just use it on just a snare. And you'll see what it sounds like. It's like, it's a really small sound, like. So I did it, and it was very quiet, right? I'll turn it up probably with the computer later. But yeah, that's just so quiet that, you know, it's kind of impractical. Okay, so let's find another sound. Alright, so like that big beat, the Jimmy Squire, I can't remember who made that song, but it's a classic break beat. But you hear the kick snare, right? So you barely heard any of this. You didn't really hear it. So let's try another sound. So you didn't hear anything on that one either. So you didn't hear it on that one either. Didn't hear it on that. Alright, so you didn't hear on that. So we're going to go back to that original sound. So you notice most of these, out of the 55 or so tutorials that we've done so far, most of them are going to be using the same sound, because when you're really getting detailed with this hyper drumming kind of stuff, it's good to have a very bassy sound like this. See how the bass lasts all the way until the kick. So it's like so bass is really, really heavy right here. It's like right before the kick. So here we're gonna go. Let's see, how are we doing on time? Okay. So that's how you do it. It's like that. Very simple scratch. slow again. Start it off, so. So with Skratch, the speed of the Skratch is going to be limited to how fast you can do it 3 clicks. So basically it's like... See? So you can add this into like a kind of a Dirty South kind of double time beat. So when you're going... You know, it's kind of like boom, boom, boom. It's kind of like a house beat. It's kind of like speed, you know, like maybe 120, something like that, you know. When you start to be able to go a little bit faster with it. Now when you start with it and going... See? Alright, so that's it. So let's try it. Now let's start to practice some of these. We're gonna keep them going. So. All right, let me turn this up a little bit. Get a little bit louder. Slower. This would be really cool to put into a juggling set, because, you know, when I do come back to juggling, you know, maybe like 2 years from now, I'm going to start juggling again. I just want to be able to get all these techniques, a lot of core techniques down and new techniques, so that when I can add these to a juggling set. But, you know, usually when you see people juggle, they're mostly just doing slices and stabs and things like that. So it would be cool to see people do, you know, things other than, you know, slices and stabs and scratches, like, you know, where they're doing some juggling back and forth and they throw in like a 3-click or something or some different things. So when I definitely come back to juggling, I'm going to be, you know, adding a lot of these things all up inside the juggling. But yeah, so let's start on this again. So you notice how, since this is using a kick and a snare, we've got to be more precise than this style right here, where you're just kind of going back and forth. So, and if you want to hear what it sounds like on like Our Fresh, it sounds like this. See that? Alright, so you see on that one I was using the other half of the fresh sound. Alright, so we're back. So let's get back to this bassy kick sound. And now we'll start to add this into some beats. So here it goes. So. that was just a little example of like throwing it in just like a basic boom to boom to boom, kind of like a down tempo, kind of generic kind of style beat. So here we go. So let's do that again. So rub, half a 3-click, rub, a backwards rub I mean, and then half a 3-click, or really a reverse rub. So we'll put reverse rub on here. Put reverse rub, R-E-V. Alright, make that little be a little bit clear. Good. So yeah, this is basically a rub to half a 3-click to reverse rub to a 3-click to another half a 3-click I mean. Alright, so let's try it again. So you notice that sometimes if you don't do it right, you won't hear all 4 sounds. Like one of those, you only hear like 3 sounds because like maybe, you know, it ended before the snare or something, and so it's important, you know, to really try to get hear the 4 sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4. So because this is the easy part, doing the rub. You know, everybody can do the rub, but now it's about being able to go and doing this 3-click, this half a 3-click on this. So it's going. Right, see that? So you notice I went 1, 2, 3, 4. You're hearing the kick and the snare being cut into 4 sounds. So it's going. Alright, heard that? So on the way back we didn't hear that 4 sound as prominent because the way that the snare was positioned or something. So but so yeah, on the way forward there's more of that bassy sound, so this sound is going to be a different sound than this. And we're catching more of the 4 sounds in this one, where the 4 sounds in this backwards motion is not as strong because we're, you know, it's being done on the starting off on the snare. But let's try it again. So slow. That's it. That's it. That's the you know, the 3-click delete. All right, so let's try it again. So this works good as like a bridge or a fill, or, you know, because I mean this is kind of an abstract kind of a sound, you know, to just throw in, like, you know, somebody's rapping over or something like that. But, you know, it's a good, you know, it's a good way to, you know, just like, it's like a bridge or a fill or different types of things you can do with it. So let's use it as an example. So like, so yeah, you can just throw it in different places like that. So like that, see? So Well, that I was doing continuous 3-click deletes, and then I was doing the regular, you know, kick dirty south kind of kick snare pattern as like the fill at the end of the bar. But I'm gonna do it the other way around now and just do a beat. Alright. See? So I just added it in, like just one there at the end of that. It was like 8 bars or something, or, you know, 4 bars or something, depending on where you're counting it, double time or half time. So yeah, so. Oops. Alright, so like that. So go a little bit faster. Alright, now let's try this with some other sounds. Let's see if there's some other sounds on here that sound cool with it. So, nope, doesn't sound good on that. So that sounded cool because it has a lot of high end to that, so you can hear all the you can hear all the sounds. But in this sound, the kick and the snare are hard to differentiate because they both have so much high end to it, and so the kick and that snare is a bassy kind of snare, like, see. Alright, so it's very bassy, that snare. But it sounds good with the 3-click, so. See how that one is very enunciated. You can hear everything that's happening. So it sounds pretty cool in this one. Even though I like the other one better because it's a bassier kick. But, you know, if you added a bassy kick to this and had that so high end of a live natural drum, you know, it sounds cool. Alright, let's try another sound. Alright, there's that. And this one you can tell is this is a lot of space in between these. So it's probably not going to hear anything. Let's see what happens. Yeah, Yeah, so that one you don't hear all these because there's a big space in between the kick and the snare. We'll go to the next one. Oh, that one's got a nice, you know, some cymbals in it, so you'll be able to hear it now. So that one sounded pretty good. So you see the ones with that high end to it. It sounds cool because you can hear the what the where the ones with the space in between the kick and the snare you can't hear the what the. All right, and then the what the I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4 sounds because these 3 clicks, these are just the dividing points. These are just sliced a cut. You know, like you have a cake and you're just cutting it into pieces. All right, and it's gonna. So 3 cuts is going to make 4 sounds. So what, so it's what, and the reason I say what instead of because sound is more like a transform if you're going and that's different than this because there's no click on the first one. There's not 4 clicks for 4 sounds because transforming has a click for every sound. So it's like but this is different because some of you might think like, oh, it sounds like a transform, like what, but with that what, this is that change of direction that's going what. So this is going. It's gonna be funny to see how YouTube's speech translation, there's closed caption translation, will translate me going what. Okay, so let's see. So let's try this again. Wasn't a lot of bass in that one, but it sounded cool. You can hear it at least. So let's see this one. Alright. So that sounded alright, but you still couldn't hear all the 3 clicks. Let's try this. So, yeah, you can't even hear it, see? There's no, right here's the empty space. So you don't want sounds, if you're doing this, you don't want sounds that have an empty space in between the kick and the snare, because then it defeats the purpose of doing the 3 click. But a regular delete scratch will sound good on anything. And shout out to DJ Trouble for inventing it. But there's all, and the reason like I was saying before, with the delete scratch, being able to, have this as a whole base of field of scratches where you could have a 3-click delete scratch or a 2-click or a twiddle delete scratch or 4-finger crab delete scratch, or you could have a 4-click delete scratch, right? You can add all types of stuff to the delete, and the delete's basically just adding a rub and a snare, and then you're flipping other scratches with it. So, all right, so let's see how this one sounds. Just can't even hear it, see? So you didn't really hear it. On the way back you heard it a little bit, but not really. Let's try this. Nope, can't really hear it. Alright, let's see. So here it goes. So maybe we heard it on this one. It's nice and chunky, electronic sound. So nope, you can't hear it. So you notice that? Even though this is a dope sound, like. So listen. Nope, you can't hear it. All right, so we're gonna go back to this super bassy one. It has like a rim shot in it. All right, there we go. See how this one just sounds a lot cooler than all those other ones. And this is why I tell you too, all the students out there, like let's say you're doing a routine and you're doing some dope stuff, you might want to try that same routine but with a different sound, because a different sound might sound better doing the same thing that you're used to doing, even if it's juggling. Like you're doing a juggling pattern, you know, sometimes you do a juggling pattern and you're not hearing all the details that you could be hearing if you had a different beat. Alright, here we go. So there's a lot of variations with this, because, you know, if you're doing this 3-click on the snare as opposed to only doing it on the kick, or, you know, the snare this reverse rub can fall, you know, can cross this snare line, or it can stay within the snare, like I'm usually trying to do. I'm usually just trying to make it stay within the snare, like this example. I'm trying not to do this, but you know, you can do it. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can make this rub really long. You could be like, right? And that'd be the same thing, like, and then what's it? You could be like, right? So I went really high, and then and then really high, right? So. Oops, let me turn this up some. Alright, turn it up a little bit higher. Alright, here we go. There we go. Alright, and last class we had a student ask a question, or a turntablist asked a question about like how high the platter should be. And in response to that, I left a response on the last video, but on this tutorial video, I'll respond to that right now. I found in my experience, I like kind of around like here, around like belt level, I think is a good level. Like right now, I just hooked these turntables up. I'm just setting up this new studio, and I'm still hooking up a lot of things up. I got a whole video scratching section that we're going to start working on. We're going to do video loops and video juggling and video scratching and stuff like that. We're going to be scratching video with the old school DVD-J Pioneer turntables and the Pioneer mixer. But so to answer that question about the height of the ideal height, you know, right now you might notice I'm kind of crouching a little bit. I'm crouching because, you know, this setup is a little bit lower than I prefer. I prefer it to be like around here, you know, like that, you know. But so sometimes I'll just, you know, make my legs a little bit wider so that I'm lower to the ground. Also, I have my shoes off right now, because if you have your shoes off, you can take 2 inches off or an inch off. But if you go to somebody's house, and you're at your homie's house, and they're 6'5", and you know you're 5'3", you know, obviously you're gonna have to either stand on a box, or you're gonna have to, you know, change the setup somehow and compensate. But I think it's better to have it a little bit too low than a little bit too high, because at least with a little bit too low, you could crouch a little bit and get into it. Whereas if it's a little bit too high, you know, you're gonna have to like get on your tippy toes or stand on a box or something like that. All right, so here we go. So. thing about this scratch is that it kind of creates. It's not like some weird time signature. You can just throw it in some other type of loop. Where if you're just going like kick, snare, kick, 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 snare, you can be like what kick, kick, snare, kick, 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 snare, what so. So I did regular kind of backpack, kind of maybe like slower beat, and then I did a super slow kind of Dirty South beat. All right, so double time beat. So I'm gonna go back to the regular fast one, like. See, I was just doing like a regular, simple, kind of generic beat, like boop, chop, boop, boop, chop, dove, what And once again, you notice I'm vocalizing the scratch a lot. It's very, very important to be able to vocalize the scratch. You don't have to be able to vocalize the scratch, obviously, but being able to vocalize it is like half the battle. Because like if you notice with a lot of jazz drummers and things like that, you know, they have to be able to vocalize it before, you know, if they're trying to explain it to somebody, if they don't have a drum cassette in front of them, they have to be able to be like, you know, they have to be able to kind of vocalize it. So beatboxing is an ancient art form. You know, if you go back to India and you know, all their tabla, you know, notations in Sanskrit, or I mean in Hindi and stuff like that, the tabla notations, they're able to vocalize those and be like da 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 da. You know, they have all these different ways of saying it, and that's why I've done the same thing with turntablism and scratching, just being able to say like what you know, and be able to hear the difference between what and so I'll draw a transform on here. So this is a transform. So this is going to be closed fader. It's going to sound like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So that's a transform. So this is a spin bad. DJ Spin Bad. Invented this. Spin Bad. Out of Philly. DJ Spin Bad. Transform. And Jazzy Jeff was the one that brought the pullback into it, so you could continuously do it. So this is da 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 da, but not to be confused with this. You know, that's why I'm putting this up here. This is different. So that's Spin Bad Transform, but this is the 3-click delete. All right, and I'll write up here 1-click delete was invented by DJ Trouble. And then the rub, alright, is by Grand Wizard Theodore. Alright, so rub by Grand Wizard Theodore, 1-click delete by DJ Trouble. Alright, good. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So let's get back to it. So now let's try these with some other rhythms. Maybe we'll use the actual sound in here, the beat. You know what, I'm gonna add another mark in here. Because, you know, sometimes I like to look at this way and these things, these little nodes and stuff, but sometimes I like to look at the crossfader. I mean the needle. A lot of times I like to look at the needle. So this is where the horn sample happens. I'm gonna put that right there. All right. So let's see. So. This is 140 beats per minute. See if I can do it. Alright, recording. So we're back in the studio. So this is a new Skratch. Well, it's kind of like a permutation of older Skratch. This is by Barret out of Spain. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. If it's Barret or Barret or Barret. But so this is DJ Barret, and this is a really sick thing. So it's basically a delete Skratch, and the babies in it, the rubs in the delete Skratch are chirped, and it creates a continuous clicking pattern. All right, so let's start this up. Turn this up a little bit. There we go. All right, so to start off, we're going to start with the delete Skratch first. So the delete Skratch is like this. It's like a baby, right? And then it's a half flare forward, and then another baby, and then a half flare back, like that. So we've covered this Skratch a lot in tutorials over the years. It's a very dope Skratch because it doesn't have a lot of clicking. You can go super fast. Now, Barret's, his pattern is really sick because what happens is that you can add continuous clicking to the same delete Skratch hand movement. So this hand movement is going to be the delete Skratch, which is like this. Right, that's the hand movement, but we're just going to add continuous clicking to it. And I just saw him do this in a cut and paste battle entry. I think it was like maybe the semifinals or maybe it was the finals. It was like him versus like 4 other guys, so I guess maybe that's semi or something. And it was really sick. He was doing it at like 164 beats per minute, about the same speed as the chin machine pattern. So we're going to start out with this pattern. So we're going to see what it looks like. So that's the delete Skratch. Now we're going to do the same thing, but instead this is his pattern, which is going to be a chirp on a forward chirp and a reverse chirp on those same patterns, and with the same hand pattern. So it's going like that, and that's it. So it's basically going like this. So it's 4 clicks in the whole thing. Alright? And it's going to make 8 sounds. So it's going 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8 sounds in total. So it's going. like that. Very, very simple concept, and it's really sick because it's really great for scratch or for phrase scratching. He's a really, really sick phrase scratcher, like really, really sick, you know. Because a lot of times everybody is phrase scratching these days. Everybody's just doing the same chirps, the same stabs, the same, you know, a lot of the same flares or a lot of the same techniques from the 90s and the, you know, the 80s, which is great. But to be able to build on top of those things is really cool, to be able to see people moving forward and adding even new stuff, you know. So we're going to focus on this. So it's going. All right, like that. So. So all right. So you see how that sounds. Let's try that again. So it's going chirp, half flare, reverse chirp, half flare, or reverse half flare. So once again, so chirp. And that's a chirp just on the kick. So this is like a phrase scratching pattern where there's something happening to the kick and then something happening to the snare. Or if you're scratching like 1, 2, 3, 4, you can scratch on the 1 and the 2, or, you know, any type of vocal phrase scratching where you can scratch different elements to it. So this is going. All right, that's the first half, and then. Let's go a little bit faster with it and see what happens. All right, so. All right. All right, so it's going to go slow. And we're going to try this scratch with a lot of different samples. And the cool thing is, my guess is that this is going to sound good with a lot of things, because see, phrase scratching, when you're phrase scratching, the sounds are so small that, you know, if you try to do a 4-click orbit or flare on like a small phrase scratch sound, like a kick or a snare like this, you're not going to really hear it, you know? Because the sound is so small. What I mean by small is the distance, the degrees on the record. It's very small. You see how it's like that, where if you have like a fresh sample, it might be super long, so you can cut it up in a lot of pieces. But when it's very small, when it's a very small sample, a very short sample, it's better for me to say short than small. When the angle is short or the angle is small, it's very acute. That's called an acute angle. When the angle is acute like that and it's very small, then you're only limited to certain options. And when you're doing multi-clicks and there's a big space in between the kick and snare, you're not going to hear a lot of the details. But this scratch, you should be able to hear a lot of the details no matter what sound pretty much you're using, because all you need to do is hear the kick and the snare or the first two sounds in a phrase scratch. And then you could also, let's say you had a phrase scratch with 4 sounds in it, you could use it on sounds 1 and 2 and then sounds 3 and 4, and then sounds 2 and 3, or you can mix it around. So that's the delete scratch. We'll start out with that. So we've done that tutorial before. That's the delete scratch. Now we're going to do Barret's pattern. So it sounds exactly the same as the delete scratch. It's just a different accent to it. It's a lot sharper, because it's just like the difference between a rub and a chirp. So I'm going to do a rub, invented by, you know, the inventor of scratching, Grand Wizard Theodore. So this is a rub, right? So the original delete scratch starts with the rub, but a chirp, you know, created by Jazzy Jeff. Shout out to the OG Jazzy Jeff. It's going to sound very similar, like. So you see the difference. So it's both of them were like duva duva, but the chirp is a lot sharper. So it's like duva duva instead of duva duva, you know. So it's like, right? So it's the difference. It's sharper. So we're gonna go. All right. So it's the chirp. So it's going. Alright, so now we're going to move on, and we're going to add some samples, and some different types of, we're going to try it with some different sounds. Let's try it with fresh, and see what happens. So here it sounds. So here's the normal delete scratch. And then here's the Barret pattern version of it, or we could call it a chirped delete scratch. It's a delete scratch, and it's being, chirps are being added to it. So all right. So, and the thing is that this might, to some people, this could sound like it's just like you're just chirping and flaring, but it's very different. So. So remember, this is a continuous clicking pattern where the crossfader is always continuously clicking, which is great, because the thing about continuous clicking is that you can start to go really fast once you start to be able to increase the speed of it. And we'll do this to a metronome and do some different experiments. So I like how this one sounds better. So yeah, I like how that one sounds much better. It sounds pretty cool. That was with the beat. So you notice that was a little example with the drum beat. So alright. So let's try another sound. That one doesn't have a kick snare, so we're not going to use that. 16th note kick snare. Alright, so let's see how this one sounds. This is cool, but the snare is so loud, it just sounds kind of harsh with this. Because there's a lot of snare scratching you hear in this, so it's not being cut up a lot, so it's really loud. So I like the one before it better. try that with a beat again. So let's start to write this down now. I'm gonna go get an envelope so we can write this down. All right, so we got a little envelope here. Use this envelope right here. So this is how this goes. All right, so this is the Barret or Barret. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but it's B-A-R-R-E-T for those who are looking it up on YouTube. And he's from Spain. I think he's from Madrid, so it's most likely pronounced Barret. You know, but it could be Barret or Barret, if he's French. Let's see. So let's see. So this scratch is basically starting like this. It's 8 sounds in general. So it's starting out with the. This is how the normal delete looks. So it's going. It's got a baby, like that. So it's going. It's going divot, like that. And this is a chirp. So it's chirped. So it starts out with the chirp. So it's going divot. And then it's going to a half flare, and it's going to make another 2 sounds, like that. So this is going much farther, like that, right? So it's going to be a click right here. So it's a half flare, so it's going what the, right? And then on the way back, same thing. So it's going to be, we're going to do another, make this about twice as long, maybe. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? And then we're going to have, this is going to be the end of the scratch, right there, okay? Make sure this is on camera, yes, this is on camera, all right? So then we're going to, so this is going the foot, like that, so this is going like that, so that's what that sounds like, it's going. So, like that, all right? So that's how that's going. Now, so then what's happening here, the change of direction, let's make this one a little bit longer so we know this is the middle point, all right? Maybe, okay, and go like that. So we know this is the middle point. So this change of direction is another, it's going to loop around. There's going to be another. It's going to be about that long. And then it's going to go like this. Like that. So it's going. Like that. Alright, so it's going like that. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Alright, so it's going waku, that's a half flare, and then another chirp. Another chirp right here, and then another half flare. So let me make this a little bit more different. Just a little bit taller, make this a little bit taller. Maybe this one's a little bit taller. Alright. Okay, good. So we can see that. So this is what's happening here. So this one is going to happen right here in the middle. You see how all these 4 clicks are kind of lined up. So this is continuous clicking. So this is basically like, so this is, I'm going to write Barret. Or Barret. Keep saying the name wrong. You know, forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. And so yeah, so basically, if you're using a kick and a snare, if you're doing a phrase scratch, I'm going to draw a wave file right there. Let me draw a little bit better. So this is the kick, and this is a snare, or 2 samples. It could be anything. Alright, so this could be anything. Alright. Alright, and this is the kick, and this is the snare. Alright, so that's the kick and that's the snare, and this is, so it's just going like this. So this first chirp is being, let's look at it a bit closer. this first chirp is being applied to just the kick, and then the half of the half flare is being applied to just the if you look at it, just the kick and the snare, and that click is kind of happening in the middle. And then in the back, then the reverse chirp is being applied to just the snare, and then the half reverse flare is being applied to both of them. Okay, so I'm going to write that above this. I'm going to write, let's see, I'm going to write maybe above this, like this kind of. So this, the different elements of this, I'm going to break it down. Alright, so these are the 4 different elements of this. This is a chirp. Alright, and this is a half flare. It's a half flare. This F a little bit more pronounced. Alright, half flare. And then this is a reverse chirp. And then this is a reverse half flare. So it's like that. So it's basically, so it's a chirp, a half flare, and then a reverse chirp, and then a reverse half flare. Alright? So it's very, very similar to the delete scratch. And I'll show, so this is the Barret, I'm going to say the Barret, maybe the Barret delete, and I'll draw a delete over here. Delete's very similar. Delete goes like this. Delete is, this is delete. So delete is the same thing. Got a big giant circle. So delete is basically going like this. It's going dov, and then wako, and then dov, waku, like that. So it's click here and a click here. So as you can see, it's the same thing. Let's make this a little bit more curved maybe. Alright, so this is it. So this is the Barret pattern. Alright, so it's going the v what the v what the. It sounds the same as the delete. It's just going dava waka. Alright. Alright, so delete. This is DJ Trouble from France that made the delete. So I'll write DJ Trouble. I think it's spelled without an E, maybe. But I can't remember if there's an E on it, but I'll put trouble just in case. I don't want to spell it wrong. Okay, so, alright. So now let's get a metronome. I'm gonna go get the metronome. And I'm gonna put this metronome on, let's see, maybe we'll start out at like, so I'm gonna type Google metronome. Let's see, metronome. I just type metronome in Google and it starts out at 100 BPM. Let's start out, yeah, we can start out at 100 BPM. Alright. So we're starting out at 100 BPM. So let's try this now. So I just started doing this scratch a couple days ago, so I'm not even sure where my speed is yet with the scratch, you know. So let's try this out. So I'm starting a little bit slower. Here we go. Alright, so we're going to speed that up. That was 100. And I'm doing the half speed. I'm starting off on the half speed. We're going to speed this up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it like this. Let's do the double speed of that. I'm going to do half speed, but we're going to start slower first. Let's go down. So I'm going to 80 beats per minute. So here we go. When you're doing it with a sample like this, it's a long sample, you don't have to be as precise with when you're using a kick and snare or your phrase scratching. Phrase scratching is a lot more precision is involved because there's a lot more empty space. If you mess up and you don't fall into a sound that somebody hears, they'll just think you're messing up. They don't realize that even if you're executing the scratch perfectly, if your right hand is or your record hand, your vinyl hand is a little bit off, or people have phase, if your phase hand is off, then it's going to sound different. So let's try it again. So alright, so let's go a little bit faster. I can do it at that speed. So this is like weightlifting. So now I'm going to go back to 100. Back to 100, and we're doing the double time of it. Duffa, 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 duffa. Alright, so you notice how this is continuous clicking. My hand is always moving the same. And the cool thing about continuous clicking is you can mix it in with other continuous clicking cuts. Alright, so let's speed it up a little bit more. Now we're at 110. So 110 beats per minute. Let's try it again. Sorry. Alright. Speed it up some more. So I'm testing myself right now. I've never tested myself to a metronome with this beat. With this scratch. Alright, so I've mastered it at 120. Let's go up some. Add some more weights on the barbell. 125. So we're gonna go increments of 5. It's like adding 5 pounds on the barbell, on the scratch barbell. Alright, so that one's mastered. I got it mastered goes. All right, master that one. Now let's try that again. Make sure it's mastered. All right, now let's go to a little bit faster. We're gonna go to 130. We're at 130. We're gonna hit 135. All right, 135. All right, try it again. All right, 135. Now let's go to 140. All right, let's see what's up with this one. Here we go. All right, this is 140 beats per minute. See if I can do it. All right, did it. And actually, I'm going to put it at 164 so you can see the speed that Barret was doing it at. Now, I can't do that at 164 yet because obviously I was having trouble doing it at 140. So we're going to speed this up to 164, and I'm just going to do the delete scratch to show you what it generally is going to sound like. Because remember, these sound pretty much the same. So that's the delete scratch. I can do the delete scratch basically at any screech. I've been doing that for a couple of years. This scratch, you know, I've just been practicing it for a couple of days. That's why I can't get to these delete scratch speeds yet. But you know, eventually I'll get up there. You know, once I get to, I'm at like 135 now. I'll get to 140, get to 150, 160. I'll be able to get there. You know, and we'll see how long that takes. Oh, let me turn this up. And another note is that this would be really cool to see somebody do this within a juggling set. You know, I would like to challenge all, juggle DJs out there to, add some more types of scratches to juggles besides just, maybe transforms, the old school joints like transforms, chirps, stabs, forwards, reverse forwards and stuff like that. Reverse cuts and all that. Because if you were doing a triple 3D and then you threw one of these in there, that'd be crazy. I'd be like, yo, that person wins the battle. I don't care who you are. If you do a triple 3D to this, to triple 3D, if you can be like, you can be like, it's like, it'll be crazy. So let's work on it some more. So let's move on to another one. So let's see this one, how this goes. Alright, sounds alright. Like I was saying, this scratch is very volatile, so I'll put I'll just say this is a Barret delete. Because this, and I'm not gonna say this is a whole new scratch because this is really just a delete scratch with that. So we could also call this a chirped delete maybe. Because there's infinite scratches out there, and it's good to be able to reference the originators, because this is definitely a permutation or deviation of the delete scratch. So I'm gonna say chirped. Delete. All right, so I'm gonna call that a chirped delete or Barret delete, or this could be the Barret pattern. Okay, so let's go with this. All right, so this one is very clean. This scratch works well with a lot of different sounds. You notice out of a lot of these different ones, the past couple tutorials we've been using a lot of the past couple of drum scratch tutorials. We've been using a lot of different kits to see how they sound, and this one sounds good with all these different kits that we've used so far. So. Next. Alright, so it's like a beatbox. Alright, sounds alright, sounds cool. I like the last one, how it sounds better, but this one sounds alright. But this snare, the beatbox snare, and this is kind of loud. I don't really like it. It sounds really abrasive to this. Alright, so next. Here we go. So that snare sounds really abrasive to me. I wish the snare's volume was a little bit lower. Sounds alright. on to the next. It almost sounds cool, but that snare once again is so loud. It just sounds abrasive to me. You know, especially if you get louder. If you go faster and faster, it's going to get louder. So, you know. All right, so we're going to the next one. Whoops, right here. This one's a very loud one, so alright, so let's try that again. So see, that's how I don't even like this sound, because it doesn't even sound good with just I'm just doing a little kick and drum snare pattern, and it doesn't sound that good to me. It's just like, it sounds more like kind of sound effects than kicks and snares. But it's cool though. It's cool for maybe some other sounds, like if you're crabbing, or it might sound cooler. But so it goes so. Alright, so let's try the other side. Let's try some more samples. Alright. Alright, but that sounds abrasive too. So we're going to go to the next one. That sounds cool. Sounds alright. Alright, so let's go to the next. Sounds alright. So here, let's see. That's very abrasive. I'm going to have to turn that down. See how this side seems louder. Alright. Alright, so let's try this one. So alright. Sounds alright. I like the ones on the other side better, but alright, sounds alright. I'll go into these a little bit faster. So this one, the kick is very muddy, and it's kind of hard to hear where it starts. But let's see how it sounds. All right, let's try the next one. Funky. Down a bit. Next. Oh, that one doesn't have one. Still sounds really loud, that snare, you know. So I'm gonna go back to the original. Actually, let's try it on let's try it on some like weird sounds. Let's get that other old school dirt style record we had last time. Let's try this. Whoops. Sounds alright, see? Alright, now this one.
What? Huh? Get busy, y'all. Busy, y'all.
How it sounds. Let's see here how it sounds on a bass. Let's try it. I like how that sounds. It sounds like a funky bass line. That's pretty cool. So. This is like a sinusoidal kind of wave, so let's see here what it sounds like on this. So Sounds like the delete scratch, you know. So. Anybody knows this? This is from Gallagher. So, you know, this cat's one of my favorite tableists right now. There's a lot of dope tableists out of Spain. You know, the Spain IDA is always off the hook. Shout out to you know, Mr. Kubik and all the IDM people. I'm sorry, IDA people. But shout out to all the IDM people too. All the people making all types of out there music. So yeah, we're gonna do a quick run through of this. So this is basically just going like this. It's going the f waku, the f waku. So it's going the f waku, the f waku. All right. So the f waku, the f waku, the f waku, the f waku. So the f waku, the f waku. All right. The f waku, the f waku. The f waku, the f waku. Now I remember somebody posting on our page on the TTM Academy website that I think somebody says like, hey, I got this new scratch called Jumper Cables, but I feel like he deleted the post, and he might have named this years ago, but up to now nobody's named this. I haven't heard anybody do it or seen anybody do it. This is my first time seeing somebody do it, and I'll put, you know, the image of the cut and paste battle. Shout out to all the people at Cut and Paste Records. Yeah, so basically, we're gonna have the Matrix available. We're gonna have the Matrix that you can buy the Matrix on Cut and Paste Records soon. I'm about to send them a package, a bunch of stock of the Matrix posters. So yeah, this is basically like a 4/4 kind of scratch. It's just going like that. So it's so it's the Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna write that down. So this is 4 clicks. That's 4 clicks. And in total it makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sounds. 8 sounds. Yeah, so this is 4 clicks and 8 sounds. Alright. And yeah, definitely check out his IDA sets. I'm sorry, his cut and paste battle sets. This was a cut and paste battle that just happened recently, like within the past month. Alright, so definitely check this out. So to reiterate, this is the Barret delete, the Barret version of the delete scratch, which is a chirped delete, which is basically a delete scratch with a click on this rub and a click on this reverse rub, like that. That's a rub there and a reverse rub there, and it makes a chirp. So chirp. So this scratch is harder to do than this because this has less clicks. This one you can go faster with, but you know, this one he was going fast too, and he might have been using 2 fingers actually. He might have been twiddling this, but I'm not sure if he was twiddling this because it was going so fast. But you guys can look at the video yourself to see if he was twiddling this when he was going at, because he was going at 164 beats per minute, you know, which is super fast. But yeah, you know, definitely check out the video, and yeah, I'll put a link to that, his cut and paste battle, because this is very, very sick. You guys definitely gotta check out this scratch and try it out. Okay, and that's it. So peace, signing off. All right, let's do the scratch real quick on the drums one last time. I like this one a lot. Alright, so today we're going to do a hybrid scratch of a delete scratch and something we did kind of last time. We were doing a scribble-flare, but we're just going to take the scribble and merge it with the delete. So this is going to be like a scribble delete. Alright, so what's going to happen is, so this is how a delete scratch goes. A delete is like this. It goes. So that's a delete scratch. So it's going a rub and then a half flare, and then a backwards rub, and then a half flare. Alright, so that's a regular delete scratch. And notice how this scratch is cool because you know, you're doing it on both sounds, the kick and the snare. If you're using phrase scratching, some vocal samples, you can have it on 2 sounds. and so you're going a rub on the kick, the first sound, and then a half flare on both sounds, and then a backwards rub on just the snare, and then a half flare on both on the way back. So it sounds like this. All right, so that's a delete scratch. So it goes. All right, so let's go around a little bit better sound. So. All right, turn this up a little bit. More. So that's a regular delete scratch. Now we're instead of just having a rub there, we're gonna place a scribble or tipping where that rub is. So instead of just going a regular like Grand Wizard Theodore rub, we're gonna do like that. So it's gonna be like a double scribble. So it's gonna be like that. So it's gonna go like that. So let's run it back. So it's going. So it's a scribble and then half flare and then a backwards double rub or scribble or tipping if you want to call it on the snare, and then a half flare on the way back like that. So it's going. And then, so. Like that, so it's going. Alright, so it's like that. So it's just going, it's just scribble, then a half flare, and then a backward scribble, and a half flare. Try it again. Alright, so it's very, very simple. It's just going. So it's kind of tricky because the trickiest part about this is doing the reverse scribble on the way back, because we're all used to kind of just going forward scribbles, but when you're going and then on the way back, that scribble on the way back, it's kind of a different style to be able to do a backward scribble, because the backward scribble, you got to remember the first move isn't going forward, the first move is going backwards, so you're going like that. So you're doing it twice and then like that, and then a click on the way back. So alright. And this game could really integrate well into like a beat juggling set, when if you're like juggling back and forth and doing something and then you drop one of these, it sounds really cool. So So now we're going to go a little bit faster with this, and we're going to see what it's like, you know, mixing with some other things. We're going to go through a bunch of different sounds and see which sounds it sounds the best on. Alright, and we're going to do a metronome to this too, a little bit later. Alright, so let's get this going again. So let's try that again. So oops, there we go. Let's see what it's like with the beat. Like, and then faster and faster, and the better you get at this, you'll be able to do it so it's just like a really fast scribble. So, and this can kind of go. This fits well with regular deletes too, because you can do the regular deletes as double time like this. Watch. So, all right. So I'm gonna do a double time delete like. That's it. So that's the scribble delete. Now, and another tutorial we'll do a half scribble delete, where it's one half you're doing the scribble and the other half is like a regular delete like this, where it's just going like that. So, but we'll do that in another tutorial. All right, that's gonna be another one. But let's just focus on the scribble on both sides of it. So. Now let's see what that sounds like. You know what? Let's probably draw this first. We're going to draw this first, but let's just go do this a little bit one more time and go a little bit faster. Here we go. So we're going to start off slow. Like that. So all right, so let's try this again. So we're gonna go. Now we're going to do this with a, let's try this maybe with the metronome. So yeah, let's turn on a metronome. I'm gonna go over to the computer. I'm gonna get a metronome cracking. I'm gonna type in metronome, M-E-T-R. We've got this metronome. So let's start off at like, I'm gonna start off at 90 beats per minute. Alright, so we got the metronome at 90 beats per minute. Remember, it's gonna be a scribble, and then a half flare, and then a backwards scribble, and then a backwards half flare. Or you can look at it as two rubs when you're going slow, like this. So. Alright, so now we're going to speed this up. We're at 90 beats per minute. Then we're going to speed this up to, let's go to 100. Alright, we're going to go to 100. Let's put it back on the beat we had it at first. So here he goes. We're going to go. We got it. So we're at 100 beats per minute. And we're going to start with the drums. Alright, now we're going to change the sound. Back to the ah. Let's do fresh. Alright, so we got it mastered at 100. Now we're going to speed it up. Let's go to 110. Alright, we're going to start with the drums. Alright, now I'm going to speed it up. I'm going to go to 125. So remember, anytime you're learning a new scratch, this is like lifting weights. You're just putting a new weight on every time. Alright, so that's easy. We're going to speed it up some more. Keep going faster. Now I'm going to go up to like maybe 135. And we're doing the halftime speed of this so we can get faster and faster so we can go normal speed. Go faster. Going to 145. We should go. Dubba dubba dut dut, dubba dubba wacko, dubba dubba wacko, dubba dubba wacko. it sounds like with another sound. Let's say like ah or something. Alright, so let's go faster. I'm going to go to 160. Alright, let's try with the drums. Alright, step it up, speed this up. Now we're at 170. Let's speed it up. Let's go to 180. Alright, let's try with like a sample. Alright. Alright, let's go faster. 190. Now you can, so this is 100, 190. You can do this, or you can do the half speed of it, but all right. Let's try with the kick and the snare. Let's go faster. So now we're going to go a lot slower now. So 195, we're not going to make super huge jumps. So this one's just a 5-minute BPM jump. try with the one of these sounds. Refresh. Let's try it. Let's see. Go back to the kick and snare. Another one. We'll go to that one later. Go a little bit faster. I'm going to go to 200 now. 200 beats per minute. So now we're at 200. We have the option to go back to 100 because this is just the same speed. So remember, 200 beats per minute, 100 beats per minute is the same thing basically. Let me tie my hair back. I notice my hair distracts me if I have to have my hair tied back if I'm cutting. And this is also, you know, for DJs out there, you know, you want to find what's really comfortable for you. Like I notice if I'm like riding a bicycle, it kind of affects my forearms, and it's not good to scratch right after you ride a bicycle. I notice that. I notice if I'm like raking leaves or doing a lot of like mowing a lawnmower or something, or doing a lot of stuff that's strenuous for my forearms, it's not good to do that like right before you do a DMC or something, you know, because I notice that it takes away. And I also notice that when my hair is like, you know, I have really long hair. If my hair is flowing everywhere, it kind of distracts me. Also, my wedding ring, I take my wedding ring off because it kind of distracts me. Because I like to have everything kind of out of the way. Alright, so now we're going to go faster. So this is going to be more difficult. Here it goes. So it's going to go. Alright, that's it. Alright. Alright. Speed it up a little bit. Now we're at 205. Alright, let's try to go a little bit faster. So the front end ones are always going to be easier. So you notice, like, when I did mess up a few times in that, it was always like my back ended one kind of like, instead of being a scribble or a tip, it kind of turns into like a tear or something like that if you don't do enough back and forth and enough So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So like and then wuckle. So it's going wuckle, 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 like that. So we're at a weird number. We're at 208. Let me put this on a more round number. Alright, this is at 205. We're at 205 beats per minute. With the sample. Alright, so you're going to notice, if you saw what was happening just now, you'll see that it's easier to do it with like a sample, because you know, when you're doing it with just a kick in the snare or like a phrase sample, you have the big space in between. And then if you do it on the big space, if you do the scratch on one of those spaces, like either the rub or, I mean like the, you know, the scribbles on the space, you're not going to hear it. But when you're, you know, scratching a long sample like ah or fresh, you're going to hear the whole thing. Alright, now let's go faster. Let's go to 210. Alright, so we're at 210 beats per minute, same as 105. Alright, let's speed it up some. We go to 215. Alright, let's move it up. Go a little bit faster. We're at 215, now we're going to hit 220. Oh, we can't do 220, so we're going to have to do 110. We don't have 220 there, so we're going to have to go to 110. I'm going to get back to 110. Alright, here we go. if we can do 125. Alright, so now let's do a beat with this. So we're just going to go. Alright, now we're going to draw this out. So the way this scratch is going, it's basically going like this. So it's basically a scribble, right? And then it's going forward, it's got a click right there in the middle. Alright, so diva diva wako, and then on the way back, it's going the same thing, but it's going right there like that, and then like that, and then another click right here. Alright, so it's basically like this. So this is a scribble delete. Scribble delete. Alright, so we're going to call that a scribble delete. This is basically a delete scratch is going diva wako, but this has diva wako, diva wako. Alright, so it's like that. So that's a scribble delete. Alright, put that up maybe higher so you can see that closer. It's a scribble delete. Alright, and I'll just show what a regular delete is. So a scribble scratch is this. We can call this tipping, right? Right there, like diva, right? Now, a delete scratch looks like this. So this is a scribble, right? And then a delete is like this. A delete is going diva wako, and then diva wako, like that. And there's a click here, and there's a click here. Like that. Alright, so it's going, this is a delete. Alright. This is a delete. Alright, so we're adding this scribble. This scribble right here is basically, the scribble is going to right this area right there. So it's a scribble and a scribble. So it's a scribble delete. So this is the hardest part, is on the way back, is doing a backward scribble, is what I found in my experience. It's like, you know, if you've done this for years, if you can do a scribble, you can do that. But can you do a backward scribble? So I had been practicing that for a little while, just to do the backward scribble. That's what makes this much harder than just doing that. And we'll do some hybrids of this one in the future. But yeah, this one's really sick. So it's going diva wako, diva wako. And it's basically like this. It's basically, let's see how many sounds it is. So it's going 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe use my finger. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 sounds. Let's count that again just to be sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12 sounds. Scribble delete. 12 sounds, and that's 2 clicks. So that's pretty cool. So you're getting 12 sounds, but it's only 2 clicks. So, you know, like I said before, this whole year I've been practicing stuff that doesn't have a lot of clicks, but it makes a lot of sounds. So you know, we're gonna start doing, you know, faderless stuff. But before we get into the faderless stuff, we're going into this minimal click type of stuff. So yeah, this is the scribble delete. Alright, so this is a variation of DJ Trouble's scribble scratch, a delete scratch, you know? So it's basically delete scratch, but instead of just scratching, instead of just doing one rub right here, like this, instead of just doing one rub like diva wako, you're doing diva wako, like that, you know? And you can also break it up like this if you want to look at it in terms of, there's another way of looking at it. You could look at it like, I'm going to go like this. So this plus this equals this, and we're going to make it look like, so we're going to do the scribble, small, it's going to go, right, but I'm going to put a thing on the end of the scribble, and then I'm going to go wako, and then like that, but then I'm going to put another thing right here, another open fader node, so you can see there's a reverse scribble, and then another open fader node, and then forward, and then like that. So it's just a click here, like that. So it's going dava dava waku, dava dava waku. All right, and I didn't put any open fader symbols here or here or here, just so you can see, because it just kind of makes it, that's chopping it up into its smallest parts. So really, this is just a scribble. As you can see, just a scribble, and then a half click flare forward, and then a scribble, and then a reverse scribble, and then a reverse half of a flare. Okay, so this is, I'll write that down. So I'll write scribble. I'll just write tip, and then I'm going to write plus 1/2 flare, alright, plus reverse tip, plus reverse 1/2 flare. Alright, so it's like that. So it's going to scribble to, and let me write it better with like a better pencil so you can see the sections. Alright, we can kind of bisect it like this. I'm going to draw it, I'm going to go like this. Alright, so you can see it much better. Alright, so right here's the center point. This is the center point of the scratch. This is the starting point. This is the ending point. Alright. Now, so this part, this is a scribble. So you could say a tip or scribble. Right? So you can look at it as a tip. And then this is a 1/2 flare. It's a 1/2 flare right there, and then this part right here, this part is a reverse. Let's say reverse tip, or you could say a reverse scribble. Reverse scribble. Alright, now this part, you see right here on the way back, this is a reverse, not reverend, but reverse flare, 1/2 flare, reverse 1/2 flare. Alright, so that's it right there. These are the elements of it. Alright. So it looks like that. So this is the scribble delete. Alright. So this is 12 sounds, 2 clicks. Alright. And a lot of changes of direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 changes of direction. Alright. So that's a lot of changes of directions. That's where all the sounds are coming from. It's 9 changes of directions. That's 2 clicks. That's where you get the those other 3 sounds from. Alright. So yeah, that's basically that. That's that scratch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through some different kits on here and see what they sound like. See which ones sound the coolest. Turn this up a little bit. Alright. So here we go. So so ones where the snare is really loud, it's a lot more abrasive. Before we were using a rim shot that was really quiet. And so here it goes. So that sounded cool. But the snare is real loud and kind of chunky. So you have to be real careful about where you're starting your reverse scribble. Alright, so. Alright, so let's move on. Let's go to another one. Next sound. So here we go. So. I like this one a lot. I like this a lot because the snare is longer than the average like rim shot, but it's still quiet. It's a quiet snare. All right. So. Sounds cool. I like that one. Let's go to the next. Faster now, so. All right. I like how that one sounds. Because this snare is a lot more muffled. It sounds more like a kick or something else or some type of percussion. Alright, so. On to the next. Not this one. That one doesn't have a defined one. Skip that. So. I like this sound. Once again, I like this percolator kind of sound. This kick sounds like a bubble kind of. Very synthetic. But the thing is that this snare is just so loud. It's real abrasive when you start scratching. It's just really go fast. So let's try it. Let's try that now. snare is so abrasive that you don't even hear going back and forth when you're going. It doesn't. You don't even hear it really. You know, it's very abrasive. So. So I don't really like it on that one. You see how this one sounds very different than the other ones. So yeah, I don't like it with this one. So move on. Now this is one we've been using. So let's hear it in contrast again. So. Alright, you see how clear that one is when the last one didn't sound that clear. Let's try another one. This is because that rim shot is very quiet. Alright, so let's try this now. I like that one. That one's hot. That was dope. I like that. It's because that snare is really quiet. So the snare is almost like a percussion sound instead of a snare. It's not even like a real hard snare. It's like a. So. Well, it is a snare, but it's real muffled. It's very muffled. It doesn't have a lot of high end. So when you scratch fast on this, you know, so the bassier snares, I guess, sound better on this. So that one sounds really cool. It has kind of like a carnival vibe. Like alright, so. Alright, it's like a beatbox. Or maybe the snare has a beatbox, but it's maybe not a beatbox sound. It's like a mix of sounds, but this is a dope sound. So here goes. So. Cool because it has kind of like a Brazilian kind of vibe, like it has kind of like that big band kind of bossa nova kind of the heavy stuff kind of. Again, so. kick is real muffled and bleeds into the other sound. And it sounds cool. All that muffled stuff kind of sounded cool, and I liked how that sounded. All right, so let's go into another one. Next. So here we go. So let's see if we can make this louder. So here you go. So why is it so quiet? Let me fix this. Yeah, since the sound is so quiet, it's very, very muffled. Let's try where we were. So you notice the kick is way quieter than the snare. Listen. So the snare is really loud, so I'm going to have to compensate for this one. So let's try it now. I don't like how that sounds. Totally don't like it. Let's try the next. Oh, that one sounds cool. So. Try it again. I like the kick in this, but I don't really like the snare that much. I love this kick. It's one of my favorite kicks to scratch. And I like this snare for like regular stuff, but just not on this, because this snare is really nice because you can get a lot of nice rolls on it when you twiddle and crab. Like, right? It's got a lot of nice sounds, but now when we do this sound, it's a lot different. So let's try this one we're focusing on today, the scribble delete. So. Alright, so let's try it again. So. Alright, sounds cool. Next. Here we go. So. I like that one. So. I like that one a lot. That one, I really like this one, how this sounds. And it has that extra hi-hat on the top too, which sounds kind of cool. Usually that hi-hat annoys me in a lot of the other hybrids and stuff, all these other ones we've been doing, but this one I like it a lot, so let's try it again. So. Alright. Alright, let's go to the next. Let's start slow, so. Snare is super loud. I don't really like this one. The snare is just kind of like a little bit too loud for me. So a little bit too big and it's just too much, because when you scribble on the snare, it really intensifies it, and then it's like it just feels too harsh for me. Alright, so let's try that again. So. 16th note kick snare. So now we're going to flip on the other side, see what's on here. So here we go. So. Alright. This one's kind of loud. This one, the snare, you don't even hear the snare really, because it's like a that ride in between the kick and the snare kind of dominates it. So let's see. Nope, don't like how that sounds. Next. Let's see this one. So. That one sounds cool. I like that. Imagine that if you were juggling some sounds that has that kind of sound and you're going back and forth and you did a triple 3D and then you did this, that would be kind of sick. So this is like... Next. So this one's got a guitar hit in it, like on the snare. So let's see what happens. So it's kind of loud. Turn this down a little bit. Alright, it's still kind of harsh and it's hard to hear where the things are. It's not as defined. This sounds cool, but I'm not really feeling it that much. Nope, not feeling it. Next one. Sounds alright, I don't really like that one. Alright, this one might sound cool because there's a lot of space in between. I like this one when there's space in between them, generally. Turn this one up. I like that one. I like it because the snare is like kind of equal to the kick. Alright, yeah, I like this one. So let's see. now. So. Alright, sounds cool. Not feeling that one that much. Alright. My fingers are starting to hurt. Alright, so this one might sound cool. So. I like that one. All right. Alright, I like that one a lot. Alright, next. Alright, let's try that again. So. Alright. That one's alright. Wasn't really feeling it. On to the next. So. Cool, I like that, but it's kind of hard. It's not clear, you know, what you're actually scratching. So let's try it again. So. Cool. this one, the kick is just so much louder than the snare. So let's try it. So. Next. Oh, that's cool. Oh, this one doesn't have a 16th note kick snare. So here it goes. Alright. Whoops. The snare is super loud, it's just too loud for this. So. This is way too loud. It sounds better when I go slow, so the snare is not as loud, it's lower pitch. Like. Alright, and that's it. Yep, that's it. Alright, now we can move on to some like samples and some sounds. Let's try some samples. Alright. Alright, now we're going to try a little phrase sample, and so we got that say what sound. So here we go.
Say what?
Alright, so.
Say what?
Alright, so. There it goes, so. Let's see what it sounds on this. Nope, don't like how it sounds on that. Let's try some other sounds. Try some sounds, some of these computery sounds we were using before. Some synthesizer sounds. Let's get kind of synthed up. Alright, I like that. Alright, I like that. Let's try it again. Finish this up. So you see it sounds kind of, on the out sound it doesn't sound that great. It sounds cooler on those like synthesizer sounds and, you know.
Don't say nothing, just give it here. Come on.
Alright. So this sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Alright, so we're going to do a recap. We got the scribble delete. Alright, this is the recap. Got the scribble delete right here. So it's going waku, waku. So this is a scribble, forward scribble. We could call it a tip. And then a half flare forward. And then a reverse scribble, or you could call it a reverse tip. And then a, reverse half flare on the way back. So waku. So it goes waku. So waku, waku. This is the hardest part right here. In my experience, this is the part that I actually had to practice, because I can go super fast on these. There's no limit to how fast I can go on these, but on this, there's a limit to how fast I can go. And we got to like what, 115 beats per minute, 125 beats per minute. That's as fast as I can go on these backwards ones. These forward ones I can go super fast. So next time I'm going to do a hybrid of this, where it's just this on the way forward, and on the way back it's not these. It's just like a regular delete, where it's just one of these. So it's just going to waku, and it's not going to be double. So it's going to be a half scribble delete. So we're going to do that one in the future. All right, and yeah, that wraps it up. All right, so that's the scribble delete. All right, peace.